Alright, it's going to be one of the most important videos for the next stage of this project. It is about making a sauna. Might seem strange to you why that would be so important, but I'm going to explain why, and I'm going to give you a vision of a sauna that's going to be better than any you've heard before ever. Take notes. I guess I should write this up, but you can write it up too, and you can copy my idea. I want all my ideas to be free, just about. So here we go. Let's say you have a piece of land, and you wish to utilize it. You want to be on it, live on it, and we'll say it's a forest. And we're going to say it has a moderate amount of slope. That's what I've got. The first thing you'll have to figure out is access and roads you'd put on it, and those are going to be on contour, and that'll be covered in some other video. You're going to want to figure out where all your natural water flow is and your rain cycle in your climate, and where you might want to put lakes or overflow water. You just really have to control water. You don't want mud flows later or problems. So there's a bunch of stuff that's super important. Your first buildings, after you have a plan for where a bunch of your buildings are going to go, after you already have droned it and made a topographical map and you understand everything about the property really well, your first building will probably be a storehouse, one that someone could sleep in, but is mainly for storing tools and materials as kind of a beachhead into your development of this property. And it might be your first housing is tents or vehicles you can sleep in, and you'll put those in the right spots, and those are mostly mobile. Another building that is really early on, before we get to the sauna, is a place to poo. Peeing's not that big a deal if you don't have a big population right away, which you won't, but you want to have a composting toilet, and that has eventually you're going to have a bunch, but you would plan your buildings so that the composting toilet becomes part of a building later. There's a whole bunch of issues here. But let's get to that sauna. The reason a sauna is super important is because people really like to be clean. Now, I'm going to argue that they're a little bit too extreme in their need to be clean, but we can accept that people want to be clean. Actually, I'll argue, I haven't taken a shower in like a year. I also haven't been in the sauna. I have a wood-fired sauna now. It's based on the book The Sauna by Rob Roy. It uses cordwood, except that I used cob instead of concrete around the wood because I felt like it. And it had to be redone a few times. And I dug it in the slope, and I could make a whole nother video just criticizing that sauna, and it never gets used because it's wood fired and it takes forever to fire it up, and because it's dug in with a stone base, stone wall around the base of it, it's a really cool building in many ways, but it takes like hours to heat it up, and I don't like that. So the sauna I'm going to describe to you is far better than the one described in Rob Roy's The Sauna. You could still use that book, but you would not use a firebox. In fact, I don't want to use any wood for heating that sauna at all. It could be there's a backup system for that. We're going to instead use something I've talked about in other videos as well. We're going to use this amazing technology, the evacuated tube solar hot water heater, which are very common where I live. People use them to have hot water on tap all the time with no propane or electricity. That's cool, but that heat energy is not being used all the time. It's essentially a wasted resource. And so what I'm imagining is a building, much like the solar dehydrator we talked about in a different video. I'll put a link to that in the description. What are you looking at? Snake or something? Don't look at things. Don't do anything. Everything's against the rules. Don't do anything. Stop touching the ground. God, my life is so boring I have to say dumb shit to amuse myself. That's how boring my life is. Anyway, so, hey, what are you doing? I don't want dogs doing things. I get really worried about rattlesnakes. In the last year, I've dealt with 2 rattlesnakes. No, one of them was the year before. I don't like rattlesnakes. I've moved them before. I've got them into a 5-gallon bucket and I've moved them like 5 kilometers away. And, I'm going to have kids around here eventually, and, well, people too, or, could get bit. I've never been bit. I've had 3 dogs to get bit. I don't like rattlesnakes. I mean, I like them. They're fine, but I don't want to live near them. I don't want them and people to get mixed up together. Anyway, so the reason a sauna is better than a shower is because showers waste huge amounts of water. Now, I've already gotten rid of a lot of water waste by having composting toilets. We're not combining any human waste with any water at all. 0. That's a big win. That's like a big percentage of water saved right there. Composting toilets combined with pea gardens. But the shower issue is a tough one because people are used to taking long, hot showers. That would be spoiled people in the industrial world. Now, a lot of the world doesn't do that. A lot of the world takes showers out of a bucket. Sometimes a bucket of cold water. And I think that as an experiment, anybody who visits me should have the experience of, at least for a short time, only having available to them a bucket of cold water to clean themselves. And they will learn then how things are normal for people in other places in the world. We're going to try and turn spoiled fuckwads into people who understand different ways of using energy, and we're not going to keep them there because that sucks. I don't want to take cold showers out of a bucket. Now, one thing I will say is that living here, you're already automatically way cleaner. If I go to the city and there's car fumes and just everything is dirty in the city. It's dirty, disgusting, toxic dirt. Here, the dirt is clean. This is a natural environment. And so when I say, I'm sure I grossed somebody out when I said it, I've not taken a shower in a year. What has happened is that all the microbiome, is that a word? Has balanced out in my body. And so I don't smell bad. And I've asked people, and people online have been told dicks about this, and I'm sure somebody will try here, where they're like, well, you smell really bad and just don't know it. Well, I've asked friends of mine to tell me, and I've asked them, do I smell bad? Now, it's also true that I'm not that close to people. And I actually stay like 2 meters away from everybody. I'm still don't want to get diseases like COVID from them or anything else, really. That's why I never get sick. I never got COVID. But that's not a reasonable way to live for most people. And some people have brought up, well, what about, women in your life or whatever intimacy people you're involved with? And I don't have any, so I don't have to think about that. But I'm pretty fucking clean. One guy online said his balls were sweaty and gross. And it's like, well, my balls are not sweaty and gross, but I don't live in a very humid place either. And I wear shorts, cargo shorts, and boxers. So I got a fair amount of airflow going on. I don't think we should be wearing tight clothing in places that could get sweaty and moist. And this, women have moist places as well. And maybe they shouldn't, completely reduce airflow to that area. We were not evolved for that. My dogs also I don't wash my dogs. Nobody freaks out and says, oh, that's disgusting. Your dogs must be horribly disgusting. No, they're balanced. They have a biological balance in them, except for one dog I had that had skin issues. People are different. Like people online have said, well, your skin will get oily or dry out or this or that. And it's like, my skin does not get oily and it doesn't dry out. My hair is not particularly oily or dry. But yeah, people are biologically different. So I'm just talking about my experience and what has worked for me in the bizarre experiment that I am. So I'll still make solutions that work for other people as well. The point is, we want to get rid of the shower. We're going to add the shower back in a tiny bit later. But the sauna, if we're going to use water, or if we're going to get clean, right? The sauna doesn't use a lot of water, but you do sweat in it, right? I'm talking having a hot sauna that you get in for 30, 40 minutes. It could be quiet, it could be social. Some people do ritual saunas, they do sweat lodges, and I don't really like adding a lot of spirituality into stuff much, but if you get into a sauna and you're sweating, right, and you're drinking water, there's actually been some spiritual people I've known who are like, this sauna is really spiritual, don't drink any water. And I'm like, don't be stupid, dumb fuck. Like there was some guy up in Arizona somewhere or something like that, and he was having these big spiritual saunas, and they were into not drinking water, and some people died. And it's like, no, your body's losing water, put water in you. Water's good, drink water, water brother. Duh. A guy actually got in some pretty big legal trouble because what he was doing was dangerous. So, and of course you want to have a pee spot near your sauna, but you're losing so much liquid through your skin. The cool thing about that is your skin actually peels off. Now that is going to disrupt your microbiome just like a shower would. In fact, it will do it more so because it'll get you super clean. If you just dump water and some potentially toxic soaps on you in a shower, and they sell all these products for keeping clean. Their primary goal is to have you be dumping weird shit on your body all the time because your body is somehow inherently disgusting and obscene. Reject that. Reject that thought. Your body is mostly just fine the way it is, with some exceptions, that you can fix and you can monitor and stuff. But I don't get skin infections. I mean, I get cuts all the time from crawling across barbed wire fences or macheteing. I get sticks hit my hands, and it heals up. I don't even put junk on it. I mean, for small cuts. It just heals because my body, my immune system is strong. And it's amazing how little care you actually have to take. Now, I'm living a fairly antisocial life. Social life may be very different. And we're going to go with the assumption that saunas are good and that I'm nuts and that cleaning yourself is a good thing. Well, here's what we do then. We know we don't want to use wood. Also, I want the sauna to always be hot. I want it to always be ready. That will also allow the sauna to be used by a lot more people. So that you could have a group. Let's say you have a group that they're disease isolated from other groups. And a group might be able to use a sauna for the whole day once a week. And I think taking a sauna once a week is better than taking a shower every single day. Because showers just dump water over you, and you barely scrub, and it wastes just tons of water. You can do this experiment where you could take your drain, depending on your setup of your home, but you should be able to measure how much water you use in a shower. And there's all sorts of tricks we could do. We could have coin-operated showers. You could do all kinds of things to get people to use less water in showers and to take less showers. But then you get into a conflict with them, and it's just inherently difficult. And people love standing under hot water. It's luxurious because they don't care about anything about resources, and they're rich. They're too fucking rich to live a balanced life in terms of resource use. So the cool thing is the sauna actually solves this problem, and the sauna even sounds luxurious. It sounds fancier. It sounds better. And it can be a social experience or not. So, it's very hard for me to keep things simple, but let's start with the simplest case of a sauna. It's going to be a cob or adobe building, so it has good insulation. it could have thermal mass in it, even though one of the problems I have with my current design of a sauna is it has thermal mass. It takes too long to heat up. And if you look at sweat lodges, they actually succeed by not having thermal mass, and so the air within them heats up faster. You might have animal hides or tarps or something in a dome, but those are also set up often temporarily. I want permanent things. So in this case, because we're using the magic evacuated tube solar hot water heater that all day is running heat into that envelope of that building, and we'll just start with a small one, that means that even if there was thermal mass in it, it would be hot. And how hot would it get? Well, I don't know. And this is a case where, we could talk to an engineer and get some estimates and stuff, but I think we should just build it. Just buy the solar hot water heater, have the building. I'm going to do the same thing for a solar dehydrator, do the same thing for a chicken brooder, and just see how hot we can get it. And leave space for a fire assist. We may need to still use wood, but let's start off hoping that the sun will solve our problem for us. Because I've seen solar hot water heaters that boil water. I see the vent tube, and there's steam and drops spewing out of it. It's boiling over. That's very hot. No pumps. So probably south facing. South facing matters more the higher latitude you're at. And of course, in some places you may not have enough sun during part of the year, but in the place I live, it's perfect for it. During the summer, when the days are longer, the clouds come, but the days are longer. The winters, the clouds are not here. There's a cloud over there. But most all day long it's sunny. So I happen to live in the ideal climate, Köppen climate zone, CWA/CWB. You should learn about Köppen climate zones if you don't know about them. It happens to be perfect for here. Now, any plan that I'm describing, you will want to adjust to the climate you're in. So, we got the thing heating up all day. We don't have to worry about it getting too hot because we can always have a window we open that the heat vents out, a higher window. And that higher window could actually go into another place where we want excess heat. I'm not sure we'll be able to get it too hot. It really depends on how you build it. There's issues with that. And on the dehydrator, we were okay with bringing in night air and having that dehydrate things. It's a different goal. So the other thing is I'm imagining a dry sauna. A lot of people like a wet sauna and steam, and steam does move heat really well into the air and heats us up. You could do that, and that would be one reason to do a fire. You could have a fire that sometimes you run it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes it could be a hot sauna, sometimes it could be a dry sauna. There are a lot of options here. You probably have wood seating. Doesn't have to be. I know of one sweat lodge that has concrete seating in it. I've been in a sweat lodge where the floor was dirt and you kneel down and it's totally dark and uncomfortable. But the ones I'm picturing could have a glass block in them to let light in. If you did have a fire assist, it could have glass that lets the light of the fire come in and look really pretty. You could even have double pane glass windows facing a nice view, and even two of them, whatever, with a vacuum in between, so you could actually have a sauna with an amazing view. You could even position it so that the eastern sunrise, I have spots like this, comes right up and fills that sauna with light right early in the morning. That would be wonderful. I don't have as good of spots for sunsets, but you could do the same thing. Actually, I've got good spots where the sunset's pretty. They don't face the sunset, but they face hills and everything that's lit up by this beautiful sunlight. So you can make these super comfortable spaces. And really, we're talking about getting a space where you sweat, right? Where your skin peels off. Because if you've been in a sauna, you'll notice you can rub your arm and skin will roll up on it and come off. That's clean. That's the difference between a shower and a sauna. And of course, if you don't have as much time, although hopefully you're living a life where you have plenty of time, and if you're only taking a sauna once a week, twice a week, then you're not showering every day, right? And you don't have to own your own shower either. I'm imagining something like a shared bathhouse. You could have, well, okay, our first sauna is just a sauna in one place, right? And like most of my projects, I would not build the first one in the best spot. Although I want saunas like in every area that people would inhabit. So I'm picturing on my land probably 10 total saunas. And each one would have to have some thought involved with it for light, because they're solar and stuff. But they could be incorporated into a building, and they could be higher up. So that's going to get us, so the trees aren't blocking the sun, because I have a lot of trees everywhere. And so there's planning that has to happen. So it's always on, it's always hot. At minimum, it's a hot enough space to sit in. Even if there was an issue of it cooling down at night or something, I don't know. I mean, there's also the idea of just using solar hot water heaters to heat bigger spaces, so you could have a kind of hot-esque whole living room or building, because I live in a place that is often too chilly. It's chillier than I would like. I would like it to be warm enough that people don't even have to wear clothes, or women could walk around in bikinis to make my life look prettier, because that's what women are for. Joking, mostly, partly, not totally, because man, I've been alone for a long time. But if you're offended by stuff I say, I'm happy I'm offending you. It's part of my job, and you're too weak and stuff. So it's really your problem if you're offended by perfectly natural, healthy, good things that I say. All right, engineering or just fucking around here? I do think it would be really nice to have a tunnel that you go up into the sauna, and I think it's worth it. You're going to want to have an outside building to it anyway, where people disrobe. Maybe there's lockers they can put their stuff in. I was at a sauna in Oregon, at the Oregon Country Fair. It's called the Ritz, and you actually check in your clothing. If I recall, it was years ago. You check in your clothing and your shoes, and they put it in a bag, and then you get on the way out. And then in that case, you actually shower before you go into the sauna. So they're still showering. And that is an issue. Like, you might not be clean enough to go into the sauna. And really, as I think about this, I want a sauna complex, a spa complex. And so it could be before you go into the shower that there's a foot washing station where you either wash your own feet or someone else does it, because your feet are way far away. And it would be nice if somebody else cleaned your feet. It could be people with a foot fetish or something. I don't want to make it weird, but I don't have a foot fetish. I just am happy my feet work. I don't, not into that shit. I don't know how people get a foot fetish. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. But I know my feet get really dirty. That's the dirtiest part of me, because I walk around on dirty trails like this all the time. And parts of the year it's even muddy. And sometimes I'm getting rained on, and so I'm tromping around in the muddy rain, and it's dusty other parts of the year. So my feet are dirty. Also, your hair. I don't think you have to wash hair very much. I think it's probably unhealthy for hair. But some people think you have to wash it a lot. I don't know. I guess I'd have to talk with other people about their hair issues, but I'm pretty sure they're fucking their hair up with all the amount that they do wash it. And I think it's because people do want you to be addicted to products. They want to sell you product. You know how much product I own for getting myself clean? Soap. Regular soap I just buy at the store. Now, it would be nice to have soap that was ecologically more correct. Dr. Bronner's being a brand of that. We could even make our own soap out of lye. I have wood ash, I have oak ash to make lye with. We could use tallow, I think. I forget. I don't think vegans or vegetarians would like that very much. But the point is that we can purchase, we could have as a sponsor, we could purchase good soap. Just standardize on a brand. I mean, you can use Dr. Bronner's to brush your teeth. I've never done it, but the bottle says you can. The point is, it's not toxic crap. We shouldn't have any toxic crap in our lives anyway. Zero. Like, screw all that shit. People, if they wanted to, I mean, they could soak their... There's somebody up there. They could soak their feet in vinegar if that helps them with something. Like, my feet don't stink, but they have. And one thing you can do to fix that is switch shoes a lot. And also, sometimes I wear sandals. This time of year, I've been wearing socks and sneakers. And I actually wear my socks until they wear out. I bought one package of socks sometime last year, and I've been wearing them and they last like a month. I'm not a good example of how you should be. That's not the point of my life. I'm an example of exploring what could be and finding out what the limits of reality are and the limits of how we should act. So I'm not an example to follow. In some case, I will be a cautionary tale, and I'm okay with that. If I did have a woman in my life, then I would change quite a bit of my lifestyle. It would be unacceptable to most people, but what is this car doing? Oh, it's giving water to cows. That's nice. Happy cows. I'm getting into town, so I'm going to have to take a break. Let me try and remember where we're at. We were just on the tunnel to go up into it, because that way the heat doesn't have the problem of like people opening the door and people have to say, close the door, close the door, close the door, because you're letting all the heat out. No, make a tunnel that goes up into it, and that tunnel could come out, that ramp could come out of a room that had all your stuff in it where you were disrobing, or if you change into clothing. I mean, I go in the sauna naked, but I have had conservative groups come through. And so I have had to, sometimes, we have a clothing, well, it's clothing optional normally. Like, I don't really care if people use clothing or not, but, and you do bring in a towel that you sit on, because in general, in places where people are naked, you use a towel to sit on. It's just considered etiquette, you know. Oh, anyway, before you go in the sauna, you could wash your feet. You could wash your hair, but I think that's often ridiculous. You know, you could cut your fingernails, you could do your grooming stuff, you know. And really, I mentioned it could be a whole spa complex. I mean, and so do you rinse off before you go in? Well, you could have the first stage of the sauna be one that you extra clean that first sauna. I mean, you can imagine connected saunas going up a slope. And there could even be paths off to a hotter place or a colder place, or a place that's very quiet, or a place that people chat. Like I say, the Ritz up at Oregon Country Fair is probably my best example. They have a big dome thing that you can sit in with a bunch of people in it, and people like oming in there, and you know, the sound in there is really cool. The acoustics are really cool. Then they've got the different one that's rectangular for less people. They've got a fire pit that you can sit around, and there's a stage right there where people are playing nice mellow music. And so, you know, you could also have massage. You could have salt scrubs or mud skin treatments, or I don't know, whatever. Anything that's not too pseudo-spiritual and just totally bullshit might be really fun. Well, I'll think of what I'm forgetting. You can think too. I mean, we're going nuts. We're just going too apeshit now. I mean, our goal was just, you know, have a sauna that keeps you clean. That's our first one. But it can be with a plan for it to expand, so that your work isn't wasted. I hate retrofitting things. I hate making something and then having to undo half my work. So we'll see. All right, where we at? Tunnel going into it. Oh, on the nudity issue, don't invite people who have issues with nudity. Don't comment on other people's bodies. You get really used to nudity very quickly. It's not that abnormal. I used to have a hot tub in the city. Don't be an obnoxious dumb fuck. I mean, if you're an obnoxious dumb fuck, you're not invited. So I'm not going to try and solve that problem. But for you, if you're uptight about such things, and you could all wear bathing suits or something, but that also doesn't allow you to get as clean. Okay, so back to the first stage. You may want to clean your butt. I don't have a dirty butt. You know, I use toilet paper. It's an exciting invention. Perhaps you've heard of it. But you could clean your feet and your butt. Your naughty bits, as one visitor described them. And you go to your first stage, which is perhaps your first stage is really pretty hot. It might be good, like have it be so hot that you're really hot and you're sweating, and that's where you're going to try and get rid of your skin. And maybe you do have a cold water shower in there, so that as soon as you are in between there and the next stage, so that you can actually scrub off. And you could even have friends scrub your back and stuff. I have in the sauna I have now, I have a handheld cold water shower thing, and that's handy because then a friend can like spray it and wash you down, and you don't need as much water because you're not just spraying it from one angle. You're able to direct it, and you could scrub people with a sponge even, and people could own their own sponge. You know, you could go with your own sponge. In fact, we can grow sponges because they have a certain kind of a gourd, a sponge gourd. I don't grow those currently, but those would be great products to grow. And then when someone shows up, you hand them their sponge gourd. And then after they use their sponge gourd in the sauna, they could put it in vinegar or something to clean it, or hyper dry it in a dehydrator, because I want all of these energy systems to exist within the community space, where you can get something too humid, you can soak it, where you can dry it, dehydrate your clothes, not just drying them, be dehydrating them. In fact, just dehydrating your clothes would probably kill a lot of stuff that lives in your clothes, and you may not even have to wash your clothes as much, because that's another whole system of laundry that we have to figure out. How do we do laundry and use less water? But I don't do laundry very much. I've been wearing this shirt for at least 2 months. I know that sounds ridiculous to some people, and I sleep in it too. And it's just whatever. I really believe that you just develop organisms that live on you that keep you clean. I'm part of a planetary system of me-ness, not meanness, and it works out. And you may not believe that. It goes against everything you've been told and taught your whole goddamn life if you come from the industrial world. So anyway, we get the basic sauna down. The heater is going to get southern exposure. You could have 2 of them. One of them could be, so it gets eastern exposure as well, because the coldest it is just before the sun comes up. So we want to heat it up quicker. Or maybe we put the fire on that side, and then we're firing it up in the morning to get it hot, and it can be used even by more than one group a day. It depends on your group size. I do want to I think it's worth it to talk about the whole spa complex, though. And I love this idea of kind of a maze of saunas going up a hill. Now, then you're imagining it being for more people, probably, because that's just more work to build it. It's more extreme. And you could put prisms in the walls and parts of it. You could have, it doesn't all have to be cob. You could have parts of it be earth roofs. Earth roofs are very insulating, and they also get rid of the noise of the rain. because we have to think about what roof do we have, right? And some of the roofs could be concrete, and you could use them then to put things on top of. You could even have, if you had all these multiple saunas stacked up along a slope, you could have more than one hot water heater heating those spaces up and heating up a thermal mass within those spaces. Really, then you're almost looking at like an adventure sauna. And it could have fire pits off to the sides of it where, once you're clean, once we've got you clean, you could have, wind and cold protected areas. You could have cold things as well. You could be able to go out and look at the stars. And because, you're overheating because you're coming out of a really hot room. And you could stand out in the cold night air looking at the moon and the stars. Or you might even be able to stand in the rain and have the rain rinse you off. How cool would that be? It would be very cool. And it won't feel uncomfortable because your body's already so hot. You're overheated and you're drinking water, right? So maybe one of the things you're doing is carrying a cup. Maybe you even have a cup on a string, and then you've got spots where you can rinse that cup off because now your cup is sweaty, right? And you can rinse it and you can fill it and guzzle more water. And you've got spots to pee as well, where that pee then all goes down into pee gardens, which I'll make another video about pea gardens for you. But that all just goes underground and becomes drip irrigation, and it's not a problem. Or you could evaporate the pee off and use the things that are in pee as like for nitrogen, for fertilizer, or to make gunpowder. I think there's potassium nitrate in it or something, and might as well make some gunpowder. I don't know where we get sulfur from. Gunpowder is made of sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate. That's going to upset somebody right there. Some algorithm's going to label me a terrorist, but that's an old recipe. I mean, you might as well label all of ancient China as a terrorist place because they made fireworks. They weren't even shooting anybody with them, So, anyway. I think I'm almost tapping out. I mean, you can make it artistic. You can make it beautiful. The one that I want to start with, the one that I could crowdfund, would be something that just functionally served the need of a small group. And that's why I say I don't want to put it in the best spot. Unless I plan the whole thing out and it's the original part of the sauna. And then I build more sauna off of that somehow. It's possible. But that cost on that would be very low. An evacuated tube solar hot water heater does not cost a lot. They last forever as long as there's nobody playing baseball near it. You can make sure no branches are going to fall on it and break it. You could avoid buying it by making your own out of like painted aluminum cans and glass or something. And I've seen designs of that, and that's cute. But why not buy this professional level one that has a vacuum? Because the vacuum is the key part of an evacuated tube, evacuated meaning vacuum tube, solar hot water heater, because zero heat can get lost out of a vacuum. So go with the commercial solution on this. I realize that do-it-yourself stuff is really cool, but in this case, they're so available, they're so easy, and I actually want to buy some of the smallest ones possible, like demo models one if those are functional, like this big, because normally for a family they sell them big. I have one that was designed for 4 people, and all that heat's wasted right now. It just keeps a bunch of water hot, and I don't even use it. It's in a whole different building, and I'd never go there. So I have a resource I'm wasting. This resource would never be wasted. It would be always making that be a really hot room. And given that I'm too lazy to build a fire for myself, this time of the year, the nights are too chilly. I sleep in a ski jacket. I'm telling y'all how fucked up I am. I think it's hilarious. You could include a laundry with it. People could drop off there could be like a day of the week. This just kind of spa day. We've done that before with the wood-fired one. People could actually show up with their bag of dirty clothes. Their clothes could be washed and dried, Because if we had a dehydrator to dry the clothing, I don't want to dry clothing in the sun because the sun is so strong that it will fade your clothing. It fades the dye in the clothing in a lot of cases. I don't know. It depends on how long you're going to spend in the sauna. I don't know if there'd be enough time to wash it and dry it. Well, whatever. That's a different thing. I mean, maybe you pick it up later or something. But you could at least have the clothing you showed up in be cleaner than when you showed up. Because, like, why put on dirty clothing after you just cleaned your body? You got super, super clean, right? Why put dirty clothes back on it? I mean, and that could be the same time you change your bedding. I haven't changed my bedding in forever. And my dog sleeps on my bed. She's not that dirty. She's a tiny dog. My other dogs sometimes get dirty. They get skunked. That happens every couple years. My current dogs are actually astoundingly clean. It's kind of cool. But, you know, they get involved with dead shit in the forest and stuff. They're forest dogs, so they're not really that clean. For the saunas themselves, since we have people in there and they're shedding skin, and we have spots for them to scrub off, and that water drains away into a place that goes in the dirt somewhere, that we grow some flowers and stuff, and, you know, that's a different issue. We do want a way to spray those saunas out. So there is going to be water used to maintain the saunas. And again, we could use vinegar to spray them out, or alcohol. You know, we might be distilling alcohol and doing an alcohol spray. So we want to keep the saunas really clean. And that might mean that we have tile walls. So I mentioned adobe before, and adobe does breathe well, and it's really neat. But what if these tend to be moist places? If they're going to be moist places, because, you know, people are sweating and stuff, and some of them might be steam ones. In that case, we do want really smooth tiles. And I don't know. I haven't thought about all these issues, but I think, you know, materials are going to matter. I'd be okay with a concrete floor. Concrete, also, we don't want anyone to slip in the sauna ever. So we would want not smooth floors, but like regular concrete would probably work fine. We could dye it so it doesn't look like concrete as much. We could dye it red or green or whatever, or a mix of things. That's all cosmetics. I mean, the cosmetics of making a beautiful sauna or something that you can think about. I mainly think about the engineering and the functionality and the social impact of how it gets used. But having it look really pretty would be fantastic. And I love the idea of putting prisms in the walls and things like that. You could even have parts that were ferro cement. That's like a cement over a wire mesh. And then you could have bottles in the walls that let light in, and you could plan all that out for different times of the year and the path of the sun and do all that. We done with saunas, please? We finished talking about fucking saunas. I think having the sauna be associated with parts of a building that are more like a lounge and that are really warm, like beach level warm, you know, like really warm enough to be comfortable. So what is normal warm? Normal warm for clothed people is about 20 degrees Celsius, centigrade, whatever it is. 70 degrees, 71 degrees, or 21 degrees Celsius centigrade, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But if you're going to be naked, then that number could go up to 75 or 80. I don't know what people want for that. And that would be 24 degrees or some other number in Celsius centigrade. And I think that would be pretty cool to have lounge areas where you're already all clean, right? You've already scrubbed. You're super clean. You've got a view of the valley or something, and everything is big, double pane windows. And those rooms could also be being heated. They're bigger. It's more spacious. There's tables. People could be playing cards, chatting. I don't care, whatever. And have big, warm, comfortable spaces for clean people to hang out. And maybe on those days, you just kind of hang out. You start out with the sauna, and then you're just hanging out in a really warm, comfortable space that is like a different climate than the one you're in. And there are places where you have the opposite problem, where you actually want to have places that are dug into the ground and have the cooling power of the earth, because it's too hot out and we don't want to run any AC, air conditioning, because we don't want to use any electricity for heating or cooling. No electricity for heating or cooling, with the exception of maybe like egg incubators. There could be some exceptions. We might have a tiny freezer for vaccines or something. But like, I have no refrigeration. I have no heating. I use zero electricity for heating or cooling. So, yeah. The sauna I'm picturing has no moving parts except for hinges on doors and stuff. Even the tunnel you enter into could be a greenhouse, and then we could vent off any extra heat out of it, just like we would on a solar dehydrator. That could be venting off to heat up a greenhouse or heat up something else. I don't know. I think we're done thinking, aren't we? I'm tired of thinking about this shit. Boring video. AI should edit all my videos for me. Should come up with a written design for the entire sauna complex. See you later. So in addition to thinking about making a sauna complex, a spa complex, I got thinking about that it is often too chilly here. I'm pretty high up in the mountains, and I like to go to a tropical beach once a year for a month or so. Haven't been doing it because I'm busy, here. But could I build a beach-like environment? Well, yeah, I could build a really, really warm building, more than one. One of them could have polycarbonate as the roof, perhaps 2 layers to improve insulation, not right next to each other, but with air in between that was stagnant air, so it was controlled. And then heated with evacuated tube solar hot water heaters and a fireplace. And you could imagine a whole wall that was really well lit. You might have LED spotlights shining onto it. And I mean, it's tempting to think, oh, we'll just make a green wall. We'll make a site green or blue wall. And that will be the background that we can have it be whatever we want. And that's good. We want those too. And I have 3 green walls now. Green screens, I guess they're called. Yeah, green screens. Because I bought a 5-gallon thing of paint that was mixed at just the right recipe to make green screens. We need blue screens too. And maybe even magenta screens. I don't know. But this is not the idea I'm after here. I'm after this really warm space that is almost too hot, right? But not muggy. So it'd be easy to handle humidity issues. It's dry, and it has great light. And it has light reflecting off the floor. It has light reflecting or coming in from wherever. It has light from the roof. And the back wall of it could be painted like a mural of the ocean. And then I kind of wonder, well, how could we paint a mural that really did look like the ocean? How convincing could we make it? Well, It could be, this is way more work than should have to be done for any project, but it's just so tempting if you're going to make a beach, right? Now inside of that we could have we could have sand and dirt on the ground, and if we kept it temperature controlled the right amount with a bunch of light, we could actually grow palm trees and other tropical looking plants within it, so that around this wall there was a big bunch of greenery that was tropical looking. And then the wall itself could actually be made of translucent plastic stuff, and it could have part of it be for the ocean. So on the other side of the wall there would actually be a floor separating the ocean and the sky. And then we could have we'll get to that. And that way we can control the lighting on the sky based on how we light it from behind. Now, blue would be the default of it, but if it was dark behind it, it would look darker blue. I guess there's limits on how much we can get away with in changing the lighting, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. If it was just the same beach all the time, that would be good enough, right? And then the water part could have lights behind it that move, and it could even have a lower spot where the waves crash, where we really are mimicking it. That could even be projected from behind, because you can have reverse projection screens, right? And so it could be projecting waves onto that. This is all just weird shit. I don't know what the point of all this is. I guess I want a beach. I don't have to go to the beach. I should build one. It should be really warm in there, so people are they're in their beach wear. I don't think we need to make it big enough so there's a volleyball court, but it would be this infinite beach set. It would always be the same, probably. Now on the sides of it, you could also make more jungly tropical spaces, so that if you were going to film, a show about an island like Gilligan's Island or something, then you could have the sets available for that. You could build a grass hut. You can do all sorts of stuff. I like the idea of building sets, just for fun. I mean, why not live in sets? Now this one's especially difficult sounding, to make a thing that actually looked on video like a beach scene. That sounds super hard. Yeah, I don't know. That's very low on the list of my priorities. But having a warm place to hang out, because right now I'm walking home, the sun is going down over the trees, and I'm already a little chilly. All I've got on is some cargo shorts, dirty cargo shorts, and a t-shirt. So right now if I fall down and break my leg, I'll just die here of hypothermia. Could happen. Probably won't. I'm very careful. But it's colder here than I like. And I like that it is too cold, because one of the benefits of living in a cold climate is you have less bugs. I lived in Ontario for a while, and they had no-see-ums. These little black bugs go behind your ears, and then you reach behind your ear and there's scabs and blood back there. And then they had big mosquitoes. So cold places also can have bugs. This place very rarely has bugs. But like jungles, or when I've gone to the beach, there's bugs there that drive you nuts. And so I feel lucky that I live in a climate where, for whatever reason, there's very little bugs that are annoying. Very few. If you leave standing water out, then there's too many mosquitoes. So don't do that. Or leave standing water out enough so that the mosquitoes lay their babies in it, and then you dump it out. That's the Chinese method. At least that's where I read about it, in my extensive travels in China. No, I've never been to China. But I know which parts of China I want to go to, because I looked up the climate, and there's a couple states or provinces or whatever they call them in China that are like here, and those are the places I want to go. Also, there's part of Ethiopia that's like where I live, And there's part of Colombia or Venezuela, I forget. Somewhere down there. I don't want to go to Venezuela. It's a fucked up mess. But I like the idea of visiting climates that are similar to where I'm at, because then I could get seeds from there of plants that were highly valuable that I could plant here. That would be really cool. Walking home again. Other sets, the sky's the limit. I mean, everybody just wants to build a house, right? Why not build sets? How come I can't have an Irish pub? You know? Make a whole Irish pub. I've been in Ireland. Although they didn't look like Irish pubs there, they just looked like pubs. Because they weren't trying really hard to be Irish. That's kind of funny, actually, that the stereotype of something doesn't match up with what it actually is in most cases. Of course, in Ireland there are Irish-looking pubs, but they don't go overboard like you would make a set for a movie or something. They don't have to scream out the location they're at. But it would be fun to have like a Asian noodle shop, you know, from Hong Kong or somewhere, Japan, or a place in India, or a temple. You could make temples of all kinds. Temples look cool. Hindu temples look cool. Lots of temples look cool. It'd be fun to build those. You could maybe even get believers to finance it. And not all believers are evil. So, you know, I mean, why not have a Shinto shrine? Wouldn't hurt anything. These cold nights in the winter, they're too cold. I think that should be one of my next things, is make sure anything else that gets built here, because the building I live in is like a cave. It's like a cave. It doesn't heat up or cool down quickly. And if I did light a fire every night, like I should, then the temperature would actually be very comfortable. But living alone, I just don't have motivation to even care for myself. It's a horrible thing. That's why I'm a mess. I don't do anything to take care of me. And that's probably a psychological flaw in me, that I don't care about myself to do anything. But it's the case. And so rather than fight it, I think I should just give into it and probably get some people in my life. And women, of course, come to mind because I have some special liking for them. But dudes would be fine too. I've had lots of really nice guys come through here. And not all guys are as bad as they sound online. God damn, if I had my vision of what men are from what you see on the internet, I would hate men. You know, and I realize that many women do hate men because they've had bad experiences with them. But I think what everybody has to realize is that whatever gender you're into, you tend to be annoyed more by them because you're with them. And they're more likely to hurt you. And women are just as bad as men. If you don't agree with that statement, you're totally sexist. And you're inexperienced. Women will destroy your life and give no fucks about it. Absolutely. And it happens all the time. It's not a rare occurrence. It's a constant threat. And that is why many women say, why can't I find any good men? It's because the good men are scared fucking shitless of women. I'm scared shitless of the power that women have to destroy my life, and that I have no ability to defend myself. If it was a guy, I could just fucking kill him. Or get them killed. But, I mean, that's a little extreme. I don't kill anyone, but, you know, nobody would have sympathy for them. They would not just believe men. No one's ever said that. But they have this stupid phrase, believe women. Even though women are fucking total psychotic liars in some cases. Enough that I avoid them altogether. Which is a terrible shame, because then women are deprived of my wonderful meanness. And many of them should be, because I'm a bad match for most women. But I try and make that obvious. I have no interest in seducing women with lies and fake shit. And that plant just scraped my arm. Look at this nice plant down here. This is spread all over the place just by being in a good spot it likes. And it's non-invasive. It's taken years, like I think 7 or 8 years to grow to right here. And it doesn't grow right over there. You know? So this bamboo over here, which is actually a potentially invasive type of bamboo, has taken forever to get that big and then spread to there, and now it's got a tiny piece over here. You can see its cane right there. Hey, honey. Hi, other honey. Hi, tiny honey. You're too far away to pet. Okay, let's go. So I'm always watching what's an invasive plant or not. I'm very careful. Very, 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 very careful. It's not a problem. I mean, up here we've got a bird of paradise. That thing's been there for probably about 10 years. And that's all the further it's grown. It's probably about 5 times bigger than when I put it there. That's not much. It's not like it's going to take over. Again, here we have that same invasive bamboo. It has barely grown. And I mean invasive meaning it's a runner, not a clumper. There's 2 kinds of bamboo. God, I get so sick of what people say. As soon as you say certain things, it's like they're just on repeat. They have a script within them. They just, like a parrot, they just say, oh, I heard this term, therefore I say that. And there's no fucking thought involved. It's like I talk to idiot robots. I actually do talk to AI quite a bit. And my God, it's dumb. And it's not just dumb because it's dumb because it's been programmed to be dumb. It's really horrible what they're doing with AI. Extremely manipulative, dishonest, and I still use it as a tool. But hopefully people will be designing better AIs, because in the end of 2004 they suck heavily and they're manipulated. They're being used for social control, and I don't like it. Here's another plant I put in here. This is a jade plant, a succulent. It also spreads very, very slow. And I don't think it's ever reproduced from seed. That would be dangerous. Here's one right in here. That plant and the other plant, it likes these rocks. So it's just right in here. Also about 10 years old. Maybe 9. I don't know. So there's another succulent I put over there with a red hot poker. It's a plant from Africa. And it doesn't reproduce much. It's just slow. It's fine. Not a problem. This agave up here is a native agave. I've planted thousands of those. Those also need help to reproduce. They don't even reproduce on their own very well. So even the natives have trouble. So, I don't know. People believe so much dumb shit about plants. It's like annoying to talk to people. I say as I talk to my camera, and we'll probably publish this video so people can say dumbass shit. But hopefully some of it's educational for people, and I don't have to just keep saying they're stupid, but I can actually provide some educational value for why you might think a plant is invasive or not, and why you should be extremely careful. I am extremely careful, about anything I introduce. I don't just plant random shit. Even if it came from a local nursery and I bought it, I still won't just randomly plant it, because I have a very special environment here, and I have more birds here, and I have more space for plants to grow. So I have to be careful in ways that somebody in the city with just a yard would not have to be. So that nursery might be fine to provide them with plants, but I have to consider every single plant that I get. Fuck. Okay, I made it home. The sun is going down. It's going to get really cold soon. If I was a good boy, which I'm not, I would make a fire. And if I had a chick here, I would make a fire for us both. Everyone would be happy. And I would feel like I was a good person. But I'm not, because I give no fucks. Literally give no fucks. Very sad. I really hope no one takes me that seriously about half the time. And the other half of the time they should take me deadly serious. Because I am fucking deadly serious with some shit. And some of the shit I'm most serious about, I can't even say. Because I would get in trouble for it. Because honesty is illegal. Very, very dangerous, to be honest. You'll find that out as civilization collapses. And you're not allowed to say why. Goodbye. Back into my cave.